Kubra Khan, a pleasure to have you here. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm really well, thanks. We last met and sat down when you were promoting not one but two films.
That's correct, yes.
Bravaza Junoon and Jawani Phir Nayaani
That's
2.
correct, yes.
Which both did really well.
Alhamdulillah,
JPNA 2 did particularly superbly well.
Yeah.
But you seem like a different person today to the girl I sat down with a year ago.
Yeah, a lot has changed, to be honest. I think a lot has changed because I think everyone goes through this some point in their life when they have like that pivotal point. And I think everything kind of just turns 180 degree. And I think I went through that in the last year. And I'm actually happier with the kind of person I am today. Obviously, I'm still trying my hardest to become a better person than I am today tomorrow. But I'm, I think, happier, more content and more at peace today than I ever was before.
You know, last year when we spoke, a lot of the conversation was around your transition to Pakistan,
Yes.
the kind of culture shock that you had when you moved there, but also the excitement of being the lead actress of one of these big Eid releases and a substantial part of the other one as well.
Yeah.
And we also spoke about Sange Marmar, Alif Insan,
Exactly.
this crazy success that came in quite quick succession.
Yeah.
Did this last year feel quite kind of therapeutic in the sense that you did take a bit of a backseat, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was therapeutic as well, but at the same time, I think there's certain things you go through in life, whether it's professionally or personally, that kind of puts you in a position that kind of gives you insight from a third person's point of view. And I feel like seeing myself in that position as a third person, I think I kind of realized there are certain things that I need to kind of step back on as well. So yeah, I think I took a little break from work, I took a little break from socializing as well. And now I'm just content with where I am, to be honest.
I feel like so much happened so quickly for you.
Exactly,
And
yeah.
people put you on a pedestal quite fast. Like, you know, after Sange Marmar and then Alif Insan, and I know you did other dramas around the time, but particularly for me, those two stand out in that catalogue. I feel like everybody was hailing you as the next big thing. Did you feel that pressure at the time?
I think I would have. I was told stuff like that as well, but I was never in the industry for competition, to be really honest. And I know it's such a cliched thing to say. Everyone would be like, oh, I'm not competing with everybody. But at the end of the day, I think maybe for a short period of time, I wanted my dramas to do better than others, but that's a normal thing to feel. At the same time, though, I think when I took that back seat, I realized I'm not in competition with anybody. At the end of the day, if I can look at myself in the mirror and be okay with what I am today, that's the main thing. Because let's face it, Haroon, I could have 50 awards today, I could have Oscars, and I could, you know, be like the next big thing. But if I'm not like a good human being, what does that all stand for, you know? And I think that's what last year kind of stood for me, because I think I had this spiritual awakening where money and materialistic things and, you know, success and fame, all of that, of course, is part of our world. But at the same time, I think finding that spiritual side in me, I kind of realized, yeah, all of that is great, but I can't take it with me. I can't take this anywhere with me. And these awards aren't going to hold any value in front of the big guy up there. And I think that's kind of what just gave me an insight. I just want to, like, it's going very dark very quickly, but on my deathbed, I don't want to be scared to face my Lord.
You said that you felt like you were becoming a person that you weren't, or
Yeah.
that you didn't want to be even.
Yeah.
Does that take a toll on your mental health?
Definitely. I think, you know, the thing is, right, when you get something so quickly, and obviously people are hailing your name and people want to work with you and stuff, and it's it's because of your work, but at the same time, I think you just start believing that you are something maybe you're not. That's why I kind of decided that, you know what, yeah, this is not me. You know, I'm that person who would take my backpack, take a camera, and go out to museums and exhibitions and stuff like that, take pictures and draw. That's the kind of person I am. I'm not really bothered that I want to be able to get out and dressed up nicely, hold my Gucci Prada bag, and I want people to just swarm at me. That doesn't matter to me.
Because you were the odd one out in the Pakistani entertainment industry.
I still am, I think.
you still are. But you know, when I first met you and when I first started looking into your work, like your Instagram bio says something like K-pop fan and gamer, and all these things are not what one would associate with a leading actress in the Pakistani entertainment industry.
Right.
Did you feel ostracized at all because you were the odd one out?
Well, I've always felt like a misfit, to be honest, whether it was here or in Pakistan. Because when I was here, I was like, I think I had like one or two Asian kids who were friends. But when I was in Pakistan, it was like an oddity there as well. Like, oh, she's the girl who came from London and she doesn't know how to speak Urdu and stuff like that. When I was here, it was more like, oh, you know, but she's, at the end of the day, she's Asian, she's Pakistani. So yeah, I think I almost felt like misfit everywhere I went, to be honest. But I think I've kind of accepted that.
Was there any fear at that time, around the time that JPNA2 released, that if I slow down, other actresses will get in front?
There was no fear, but I was told this over and over again, not by one person. I feel like the entire industry kind of said, now is the time. Like, both your movies have been hit, and now is the time you have to really gear up and accelerate. And I was like, well, I feel like now is the time I need to slow down, you know? And because the thing is, what is the fear about? You know, today, if I am, you know, I'm at pole position, tomorrow somebody else is going to be, the day after somebody else is going to be. So this race is going to be continuous, but what do you really get out of it, you know? If you don't have that sense of peace of mind, if you don't have the contentment, and if you're not happy with yourself, what is any of that worth?
Well, something that did appeal to you was Alif.
Yes.
Can you just tell me, like, in the kind of calendar of the last year, where did Alif come in? Because so many other things have happened that we'll talk about, but where did Alif come from? Because there was so much drama around you even being part of this drama to begin with.
Yeah. Alif was God sent. That's all I can say. Alif came to me at a point where I was not in the best place, to be really honest. I was in a dark place in my life at that point, because obviously you're kind of just shutting yourself off from everybody. And it's just, I think everyone, and some people may admit to it and some people may not, but I think everyone goes through that point where they just don't know what's happening anymore. And it doesn't necessarily mean you're not getting work, because alhamdulillah, till date, like I get a lot of work, but it's about what you want to do, right? So I was kind of like, do I even want to be a part of the industry? I was going through that kind of mindset. So when Alif came and I read the script of Alif, I fell in love with Husn Jahan. Like, I literally just fell in love with Husn Jahan because I could relate to her in so many ways.
She's a yesteryear actress who was at the top of her game and gave it all up for love and moved to Turkey, right, essentially?
It's love, but I think the most beautiful thing about it is that it's love for a human, sure, but that human stands for something else, something more than that for Husn Jahan. That human, basically the reason she fell in love with him is because of the love he had for Allah. And the spirituality that he carried with him, she fell in love with that because that was something she had never experienced before. You know, that was like the way she started connecting with herself, the way she started connecting with Allah, is something that she had never even thought about before. And I think that's what she actually fell in love with. So even when she came back, like, I don't know, in the last episode or the previous
A couple of weeks ago,
a couple of weeks ago, there was an episode when she's dancing and her son sees her. Like, she's dancing, but her soul is dead at that point because she doesn't want to be doing that. You know, she doesn't want to be dancing in front of men. She doesn't want to go ahead and act or, you know, show her pretty face or, you know, her body to producers and stuff like that. She hates herself because she's become a person of God at that time, you know. And Alif just depicted all of that.
The drama highlights a lot of hypocrisy and double standards in the entertainment industry in Pakistan.
Yes.
It highlights issues like the casting couch.
Yeah.
Husn Jahan's character, in a lot of ways, is seen as a commodity for her parents.
Yeah.
Talk to me about how you felt really highlighting those kind of issues in the industry.
I think, to be honest, maybe not all of them, but a lot of the dramas I've done in my life, I think they have kind of, in some way or form, been connected or I've wanted to highlight these issues, whether it was Sange Marmar or whether it was Muqabil about child abuse. And when Husn Jahan's character came forward, I feel like she is in the entertainment industry, but nobody knows what's her core. You know, like, I'm in the entertainment industry, but nobody knows my core at the end of the day either. Like, for people, I am that person jo dhadak bhadak pe dance karti hai.
Which we'll talk about.
Sure. I'm that person who, you know, dances on Dhadak Bhadak, has an item song, and, you know, like, industry ki bandi hai, it doesn't really matter. Like, you know, she can do anything, but nobody really knows what I do at home. Nobody knows that I might be a 5-time prayer. Nobody knows the connection I have with Allah, you know. And I feel like that's a misconception that our people have, that just because you're in the industry, you have to be corrupt. That's not true. I know so many amazing, incredible people in the industry who have found their core, maybe over time, but the way they have carried themselves is beautiful. Like, for example, Aiza Khan. She's in the industry, but she's a beautiful mother, a beautiful human being, a beautiful wife.
And a very good actress.
And a very good actor, exactly. And Shahzad Sheikh as well. Like, he's a very good friend of mine. And the way he carries himself, like, he's a beautiful father, a beautiful son, a beautiful brother, a beautiful husband. And you wouldn't expect that. And I feel like it's just norm that's been set by the people, for the people of the industry, that, like, it's just like politics. If you're in politics, you're not a good person. It's the same thing with the industry as well. Like, if you're in the industry, you're definitely doing something wrong.
You are exceptionally good in Alif. You are really good. And as are all the performers, you know, they're all very good. Hamza's very good, Sajil's very good.
Yeah.
We haven't seen any of Ehsan yet, but I'm sure he'll be
You're gonna fall in love with him
as
as
good
well.
as always.
Yeah.
Sadaf's really good.
Yeah.
We've seen bits of her and a glimpse of Usman so far as well. It's a stellar cast. Is the scene where you've come back to Pakistan and you're in your parents' living room and they're having a conversation about how you really hold no value to them anymore.
Yeah.
How hard was it to emote some of those scenes, given that you come from a very different upbringing, a very supportive family system?
Yeah. I feel like with Husna Jahan, and I can say this hand on heart that I've never felt this before. With Husna Jahan, I didn't act Husna Jahan. I think I lived Husna Jahan. Until date, I am. Like, the transition she went through and what she was doing. I really lived her, and she changed my life so much that I really became so engrossed into it. My scenes with Pahlaj, I felt like a mother to him. Till date, I feel like a mother to him. And he's an incredible kid, you know. The way, you know, he's been raised, he's so respectful. I remember there was a scene where he almost fell from a tree out of scene. And me and his mother both kind of like ran towards him because I felt that. So I think I just became so connected to her that anything she was going through, I felt like I was. So it was hard, but when I put myself in her shoes, it was just me.
Was it cathartic playing Husna Jahan, given that you were going through your own personal inner conflict at the same time?
It was, but I think it helped me as well because crying was no big deal. And I kid you not, like, sure, I mean, people use glycerine, and I have as well used glycerine, but all the scenes I've cried in, I've genuinely, like, just wanted to, like, weep. You know, I've literally just wanted to, like, just fall down to the ground and just cry. So all the scenes I have cried in, I've actually genuinely cried and really genuinely felt the pain. And to be honest, I can't take the credit myself at all because the way Umaira Ahmed has written the script, I used to read my scenes and just cry. Literally, I used to read my scenes and imagine what she might be going through, Husna Jahan might be going through, and it would just really pull my heart out.
And not just for you, also for Hamza. In reality, he's been through this transition over the last few years, and his character reflects in a lot of ways his own personal ideas. In fact, in the second episode, there's a dialogue that Hamza's character says that a film is incomplete without item numbers, but we know in reality he's completely against them.
Yeah.
So how do you tell Hamza, hey Hamza, who's a friend of yours and a colleague of yours on Pakistan Star, how do you tell him, hey Hamza, I'm doing an item number in a new film called Superstar?
I didn't. I didn't tell him. Well, I told him that there was a song that I was going to do, and he was like, a song? And I was like, it's not an item song. And at that point, I genuinely meant it because I didn't think it was an item song at all.
I still don't think it is. I was quite surprised that you referred to it as one. When you were on Ball Nights with Ehsan Khan, you said eventually it ended up becoming an item number.
For people, yeah. To be honest, for me, it's still not. But then the people that I surround myself with, they've kind of told me to just zip it because whether you want it or not, it's going to be an item song. And for me, honestly, it's still not, because what is an item song at the end of the day? It's a song that would kind of, you know, a girl is going to be standing in the middle of a bunch of boys dancing half naked, one, and second, the lyrics. The lyrics hold a lot of value in an item song becoming an item song. And the lyrics in Tarak Parak were all about the guy, one thing, and they weren't.
And to be fair,
dirty.
you were wearing more clothes than he was.
Yeah. But he worked really hard for that, so it's given. So yeah, I mean, I told him that it was an item song because I genuinely believed it wasn't. But then the next morning I went to set and I realized that, you know what, whether I want it or not, it might actually be seen as one. And a lot of people still don't think it's an item song, but then obviously it's the majority that counts, you know. And I think the main reason that it became an item song is because a girl who's not part of the cast came into the movie and danced on just one song.
So that makes Usman an item boy in Superstar as well. He's in Noori and he's not in the film. So
apparently, but obviously he's a guy, he won't get anything. Me being a girl, I would get all kind of backlash, you know. So, but I was very lucky, to be really honest. I was very lucky. I would say blessed, in fact, that I didn't get the backlash that I thought I would. And I was prepared for it, in all honesty. I was prepared that, oh, you know, even Kubra's done an item song. And I did get those that, oh, even you've done an item song. How do you feel about that?
Is it hard, Kubra, though? Is it hard to say no to people in positions of power, and particularly people who helped you get to the top? You know, for example, that film is produced by Momina Dured,
Yeah.
and she produced Sange Murmur and Alif Allah Insan.
Yeah.
Is it hard to say no to people like that?
I think it's hard to say no to people who mean something to you in some way, and Hum MD specifically would always be home to me, to be honest, because that's where I started. Whether it's hard to say no to people in power, no, because I've done that way too much. Like, a lot of people don't like me because I'm kind of like, if I don't want to do something, I don't want to do something. But when it comes to Momina Bhabhi, it's honestly, it's not harder, but I have so much respect for her that I tend to kind of just go for it, because I'm like, you know, if she's saying it, I'll do it, kind of thing. So I think Dhadak Bhadak was one of those things. And to be honest, no regrets, because being a part of Dhadak Bhadak actually added to my journey, because that's when I kind of, that was like a mark for me that, okay, you know, this is done. Now, what now? And then
You said no regrets, but you said you wouldn't do it again.
no, I wouldn't do it again.
Why? Because for you, it was just a form of dance and a scene in a
Yes.
film.
Yeah.
Why does the audience's interpretation of it matter so much?
It does, because the thing is, the industry we work in, people, I mean, it is people who make us who we are at the end of the day. You could be the best actor, you could be the best dancer or singer, but if people are going to, you know, not appreciate your work or see you in a light that you're not in, then it's not worth it, you know? So I think that's exactly what it is. I would never do it again, for sure, because one, it's already ticked off. Second, I don't want to be seen as somebody I'm not. You know, and for me it was a dance form, and in all honesty, like, I love dancing genuinely. I just genuinely love dancing. But if people are gonna misinterpret that and say that, oh, item number and, you know, so many other names that have been used for the song and me, then I would rather not be a part of it, because if I did believe in it, I would have said, you know what, I'm still gonna do it. But one, it's done. Like, first of all, I never thought it was an item song, you know, so which is why I did it. But if people are gonna, you know, talk about it in such a negative light, then obviously it does have an impact, whether you want it or not. It does affect you.
You stayed very quiet in that infamous clip that's gone viral of Pakistan Star, where Hamza is telling one of the contestants to dance to a different song. She's dancing to Billy from Na Maloom Afraad, and Javed Sheikh is there, you're there. You stayed the quietest, I think, on that panel.
Yes.
You never really aired your views at the time.
That recording was actually a long time before Dhadak Bhadak was, and in all honesty, I did give my views much later on, but I don't believe in item songs either, to be honest. And I mean, it sounds very hypocritical from coming from me.
Is it the problem that people don't understand what item numbers means? Is that the problem? Because what you're saying is you don't stand for songs that sexualize women or objectify them on screen.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying, that I don't stand for songs that sexualize women or objectify women or are completely out of context. You know, there's promotional songs, there are fun songs, but obviously at the end of the day, we as a country, we're called Pakistan for a reason. And I feel like we can make such amazing stuff. Like, for example, Jawani Phir Niani or Parwaaz Junoon or Motorcycle Girl or Cake, for that matter. Like, they don't have any of that, but they have stories. And I feel like Pakistan is about stories more than anything else.
Like I said, I think the drama's really good, and I think it's really well made. But you guys are fighting for TRPs right now, because at the same time, Meray Paas Tum Ho is on TV.
Of course, yeah.
Have you seen Meray Paas Tum Ho?
I've seen a couple of episodes, yeah.
What do you think of it?
I think everyone's done a great job, and I think Nadeem Bhai has a way of telling a story that is very rare, to be honest. Like, if you think about the story, generally speaking, it's not something, I mean, it's not nice. It's not nice. You know, like, obviously there's a husband who's such a hardworking man, and there's a woman who's already having an affair with somebody, and she just leaves the house and goes. You know, it's not a nice thing to see, but it's the way he's kind of like portrayed it that just makes the whole thing so innocent. You know, it makes Humayun look innocent, but at the same time, although it's showing a really corrupt story, but it's showing that, you know, what are the outcomes.
Do you think it's problematic? Given that Pakistan is a patriarchal society where men really make the decisions in a home, if a man is watching a drama like Meray Paas Tum Ho, where the wife is going out and cheating on her husband, after she's very difficultly convinced him to be able to work in the first place, is it going to scare other men? Can a drama like this have an impact on society?
I think it will, whether people want it or not, but I don't think it should. Because the whole point, like sometimes we show the worst case scenarios as well, not to make you realize, oh, it might be happening with you, but so that, you know, you are careful with everything that happens around you. Like, again, I keep going back to the dramas that have shown taboo issues. They're not showing that, you know, hey, look, be scared. It's more like just to make you aware. But with Meray Paas Tum Ho, I feel like the way it's shown and the way it will unravel in future as well, because obviously, like, I was supposed to be a part of it at one point as well.
Were you supposed to play the lead role?
No, I was supposed to play a hero's role.
So you were supposed to do Meray Paas Tum Ho?
I was offered a role, but at that time I was just so occupied with so many other things, and I was just like, I think I'm going to skip this one for now. But as much as I love working with Nadeem Bhai, I had to skip it at that point. But I know the way the story unravels, and yes, I understand why people might think it's problematic right now to see what's happening with the trio. But the way it unravels, I think it'll just make a lot more sense.
You were offered a role in that drama.
Yeah.
Would it have gone against your own moral code to be part of something that promotes messages that you don't necessarily agree with?
I just didn't connect to the character. That was the only thing. I just didn't connect. And I thought the character that I was offered was actually amazing. It will be amazing. But I just didn't connect to it at all, to be honest, which is why I backed out. But it was nothing to do with the story, because I hadn't read the entire story at that point. I understand why people might think, obviously, it's wrong and, you know, it is problematic, but I think that's exactly what they're trying to show, that at the end of the day, it is a drama. It will be a little bit more enhanced in terms of, you know, dramatic value than it would be in real life. But the way it unravels, I think it's all about story, like the moral of the story. And I'm 100% sure that this drama is going to end with a really great moral as well, because people do end up making mistakes. Like, even with my character, or with Hamza's character, or with Ehsan's character, in Alif, or with Sajjal's character, I think all of us have kind of made mistakes, but it's the moral at the end of the day, what you get out of it later on. I think with Meray Paas Tum Ho, that's probably going to be the case, hopefully, with that as well, because it's important to show the worst case scenario to show something important. Like they always say that a big bang is really important to actually get people's attention.
And you know, the reason I ask you about Meray Paas Tum Ho is because you are going to be starring in Punjab Ne Jaungi 2, which is now called London Ne Jaungi.
Yeah.
So just make it clear, it's not a sequel.
It's not a sequel. No, it is not a sequel. I understand why. That was my question as well when I was offered the script. I was like, is this a sequel? And Nadeem Bhai said, no, it's not a sequel. I'm like, but it's called London Ne Jaunga. So he was like, yeah, well, it's not a sequel. The script is completely different, and the characters are kind of different as well. And I'm 100% sure I'm going to be compared to people when I start doing my role. I'm going to be compared as well. But
you're going to be compared to Urva, you think people will compare you to?
Maybe. I would think so, but hopefully not, because the characters are very different. They are very, very different. And it's not a sequel as well, so obviously it's just set in Punjab. That's basically it. Like, it's set in Punjab, and naturally speaking, obviously everyone's speaking Punjabi there. So I feel like people might think that, you know, the character is similar to Durdana, but it's not at all.
Well, hopefully you'll get a dialogue like "Help me, Durdana," which
I hope not.
Well, that was an iconic line. Hopefully you'll get something
hilarious.
iconic as well. What's cool though is that you're going to get to shoot part of the film here in your hometown.
The funny part is, yeah, I am super excited. The funny part is that I'm playing the character who's complete opposite. You know? So I'm obviously playing the other girl in this. So I'm actually excited that we're going to come here, and even here I'm going to have to speak Punjabi.
So it's great that you're doing the film, and it's great that you're doing it with such esteemed talents like Nadeem Beg, and also Humayun Saeed and Mehwish Hayat will be in it as well. But the writer's not very popular right now, is he, Kubra?
Oh, yeah. You know what the thing is? He's such a talented writer. Like, he writes like a dream. He really does.
We're talking about Khalilur Rahman Qamar
Yes, I'm talking about Khalilur Rahman Qamar. But I honestly, like, I have loved his work in past, but I'm a little disappointed as well, because, and I feel like maybe it's misinterpreted as well, but I mean, it doesn't take away from the fact that he said what he said, the quote that came out. When I read it, I was like, I didn't get it, and I was like, this is not right on many levels. Yeah, I was a little disappointed because I expected better. In all honesty, I did expect much better than him, better from him, because somebody who writes like a dream, and like the way he writes is like he just would summarize a huge problem into one small sentence, and it would really give you like an insight about what's happening in the story. So I would think that he would have known better not to say stuff like that. But then he did.
But does it make you think differently about one's work? Because, you know, in Hollywood and in Bollywood, and particularly with the Me Too movement, the conversation about separating the artist from the art has come up many, many times, you know.
Yeah.
And particularly with Khalilur Rahman Qamar, people have started looking at Meray Paas Tum Ho differently because they know that the man who's written that has particular views, and views that by some are considered misogynistic.
Yeah.
Is that something you're worried might happen with your film?
The thing is, right, when something like this happens, anything that's connected to an identity does get targeted. And although our film's not even out yet, it's only been announced, I'm almost certain people are going to judge it or misjudge it. This is a conversation I have had with Nadeem Bhai, but hopefully I hope he clears this thing up, because the thing is, right, some people have a good heart, but they just don't know how to say stuff. And hopefully it's just one of those situations, but even then, it's just something that should not have been said. And I stand firm, you know, by it, because no matter how nice he is, no matter how amazing of a writer he is, there are certain things, there are certain boundaries you do not cross, you know. So yeah, that is a worry, to be really honest, but hopefully it'll be sorted out.
And I want to ask you here at this point, like, given your spiritual journey over the last year, the fact that you sat through Ittikaf as well.
Yes, I did.
In the last 10 days of Ramadan.
Yes, I did.
How do you balance now your work in the entertainment industry and your spiritual journey? Does it conflict with one another at all?
Sitting in Ittikaf was, I think, the last nail in the coffin for me, kind of thing, you know, where I just decided that, you know, there are certain things that I will continue doing, because like I said, the art itself, acting, I love to bits. I'm somebody who loves dancing as well, and I know how a lot of people would think that, oh, she's such a hypocrite, she dances, but she's saying that, you know, she's a Muslim and she loves Allah. But like, there's a dialogue in Alif where I think Hamza says to Dada कि इंसान की मोहब्बत का तो पता है लेकिन अल्लाह की मोहब्बत कैसे नचवा सकती है, and Dada says फिर इंतज़ार करो, and I felt that. Like, I really felt that. And I don't mean like dancing on like Bollywood music. I mean, there's a scene in Alif where I lost myself completely. I think you'll probably see that scene much later on where I'm supposed to start dancing and I start doing a Sufi dance. And I kid you not, I lost myself where the director had called a cut. I don't remember it. Because I went and I was just looking up. And I almost felt like I was having this conversation with Allah that I feel like it's just like one of those, like a conversation without words, but just emotions being transferred. It almost felt like a wave that was being transferred. Funny, but there's this Hamd that's been released, which has been sung by Atif Aslam. He sung it so beautifully. And there's a video which my friend ended up making, and I'm basically singing along. And I'm singing a part where he says, "Wo jaan leta hai niyatein bhi." And at that point, I had like tears in my eyes, but I'm smiling because I'm like so into the music. That video got released, and the amount of backlash I got on that. Why? Like, naach rahi hai, has rahi hai, isme naach nahi kya baat hai, isme has nahi kya baat hai. And I was like, oh, you guys just don't get it. Like, when you love him, you do things you don't even expect yourself to do, you know. And all I'm doing is this, and I'm just pointing at my heart. But like, funny, like, listen to the lyrics I'm singing as well. Wo jaan leta hai niyatein bhi. You know, at the end of the day, you don't know what the niyat is. You know, you don't know. Like, I could be the nicest person, but inside I could be an evil human being.
You've already implied, not just today, but in your interview that I saw on TV, that you are considering ending this all. Like, you're not in this for the long run. You have wider ambitions. You said you wanted to make enough money from this to move on. That's what you said.
That is literally what I said. But you know, the thing is, like I said again, I would say it, I love the art itself. It's just what it brings that kind of makes me, that there might be a point where I might deviate from my path again, and I don't want to. I mean, I still wear like sleeveless tops, you know, I would still listen to music, I still dance. But I think one thing that I've realized, that the way they have depicted Islam, it's so much harder than what it really is, you know. At the end of the day, it's all about, I mean, if your niyat is right, your actions would be right as well. And of course, sometimes you'd be misunderstood as well. But as long as your niyat is right, at the end, it's all going to end good, you know. And I genuinely feel like if I can make a balance out of this, sure. But if not, then yeah, maybe I will end and move on somewhere else.
Well, whatever you feel like doing, Kubra, I wish you all the very best of luck. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was great having you do my interview. was great having you on the interview, Haroon.
Thank you, Kubra. Thank you.
Thank you so much.